Hi, Marc Kielburger here. Today, I want to talk again about building movements and actually how do you build a movement. And I'm very passionate about this topic. I spent a lot of time thinking and researching and talking to world leaders and experts on this concept of building movements. But not just how do you build a movement, because that's really important. The other big question is how do you sustain a movement? I'm going to say that again. How do you sustain a movement? I'm a big fan of the work of an amazing professor, or a series of professors, but one professor in particular named Jim Collins. He's at Stanford Business School. He's written many, many books that are very famous, New York Times-bestsellers, Good to Great, Built to Last, many others. And some of you may be familiar with Jim Collins' work. But Jim Collins talks about something that's very important in terms of how to sustain a movement, and that's something called the flywheel effect. I'm going to say that again, the flywheel effect. Please Google that if you're not familiar with it. But the flywheel effect is how do you actually create and sustain a movement, in this case, for us in terms of movement building, by what are the right inputs to create the level of energy necessary to have that movement build. Now, think about building that movement in terms of perhaps, let's say it's a snowball, and that snowball starts coming down the proverbial mountain, and it starts small, and it grows and grows and grows and grows, and all of a sudden it becomes not just a snowball, it can become an avalanche. It becomes something much more powerful. It can actually have a major impact on the local environment. It can actually, really change the dynamic of so many things. And that flywheel effect is kind of like that snowball. It starts off small, and that flywheel effect grows and becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And the question is, well, in terms of movement, what goes into that flywheel effect? Well, a bunch of things. Depends on the movement, of course, but perhaps more people involved, more ways to activate, more ways to get engaged, more opportunities to celebrate that movement in the media, more opportunities to help bring awareness to that movement, perhaps on social media or through marches or demonstrations or whatever that might be, more ways for people to plug in, more influencers to get involved, more opportunities to have funding to support that movement, more in-kind contributions, whatever that is. But the point being is that these movements often don't happen by accident. There's this concept, again, of that proverbial, small snowball going down the mountain. But when you get to the flywheel effect, that's what sustains the movement. Again, this flywheel effect is what sustains the movement. And when you're building your movement, think about what are the inputs necessary in order to sustain it, in order to create that flywheel effect. What are the things that are going to be critical for that small snowball to grow and to grow and to grow? I'd also encourage you very much to look into Jim Collins' work. He's an amazing thought leader and amazing professor, and learn more about the flywheel effect. Thanks for your time.